This is the time, this is the place, and this is FC3 Monkey Business, your one-stop shop for everything geeky. And since everything is geeky, if you love it enough, you never know what you're going to get. This is your host, I am C. Surprise, surprise. I know people are kind of expecting T or A or TNA. Some things. I'm going to keep going now. This week, we comparing and contrasting the classic Star Trek original series episode, The Trouble with Tribbles. And we're going to compare that with the Star Trek Deep Space Nine 30th anniversary episode, Trials and Tribble-ations. After that, stick around for our upcoming events and our question of the week. Hello, Tanya.
Hi, Christopher.
Yeah, I'm going to get hit. It's going to happen. Billy!
Hi, Chris.
Your character's just going to die later.
Oh, you've been threatening me with that for months. It's never worked out for you very well. Also in the studio today, Tony is here.
I'm here.
Hello, Tony. I thought I recognized your foul stench when I entered the room. Anyway.
Princess Leia, you are not.
I know. Seriously, I don't have the buns for it. Anyway.
That was good.
You like that one?
Yes.
And
it's going to be a long
on
show.
the phone today, we haven't done an on the phone thing in a while, but we have lovely producer Sherry. Say hi, Sherry.
Hello.
And with her, as always, is the bouncing baby girl. Hello, Monk.
Hello.
There she is. And a long-lost voice in the wilderness. We have not heard from her in ages, but guess who's here? It is the legendary Sybil.
Hi.
There she is. You're going to leave me hanging there. I'm like, oh, my God, we lost her. How you doing, Sibs?
I'm doing wonderfully well. Just dog sitting this weekend.
I saw the pictures on Facebook. Is that Bailey is the dog?
Yes, Bailey, and then the one that got wet was Buddy.
Okay, so Bailey and Buddy. And Bailey is a cuddle monster I'm seeing.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's like, he doesn't leave you alone.
No, he doesn't.
Is he the kind of dog that when you're in the bathroom and you got the door closed, he's scratching at the door because he doesn't understand why there's a separation between you?
Yes.
Okay, just
My cat's
checking.
like that.
Yeah, most cats are like that, I think. Billy, how we doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Do you have a good Thanksgiving?
I did. I ate way too much.
So good.
Put up the Christmas tree on Friday.
I
Nice.
saw it was Oliver was helping, and
Yeah.
Daniel's not too sure about what
No.
it's about.
Yeah. Daniel's timid about things, but Oliver, he wants to play with all the low-hanging ornaments, and he seems to have gotten it out of his way once he realized he really does want that Elvis ornament.
I saw a meme. I saw a meme with the cat staring at the Christmas tree, and it's all with the eyes are big in wonderment, and the caption
shiny.
is, "Ooh, it's so shiny, I must murder it."
So hold on, I've got a picture for Billy.
All right, you show Billy your picture, and I'm going to come over here to Tony.
Did you know cats spend like a third of their lifetime thinking about or trying to kill something?
It's usually their staff.
I can relate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not their humans; it's their staff.
It's their staff. It's absolutely
Yeah.
their staff.
Sherry, how you doing over there, kiddo?
Have staff.
How's life at your end of the throughway?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Okay. I've got some sickies in the house, and that's never a good thing. But
Nope. Did you guys have a good Thanksgiving?
we did. It was a very quiet Thanksgiving.
I like those.
You
You don't have to do a lot of talking while you're eating.
Less than an army, though.
What's that?
I don't know how to cook for less than an army, so I have so many leftovers. It's crazy.
Well, it's a shame you couldn't come into town and bring some with you.
You know?
I suggest like a turkey shepherd pie.
Ooh. That's not a bad idea.
We don't have that many leftovers.
I would eat that.
I wouldn't. The food's touching.
Oh, see? Oh, we've
I
got one of
forgot
those.
about that.
Yeah.
It looks absolutely delicious, but no.
Yikes.
Sorry.
Yikes. Anyway.
I'm not a peanut butter person, but do you not eat peanut butter and jelly because peanut butter and jelly are touching?
That's different. I do peanut butter jelly and then potato chips
Ah!
to give it that sweet and salty crunch on my sandwich.
I mean, I guess, but why?
Because it's Tanya. Don't ask why.
You
Drink Bud
guys
Dry.
eat garbage plates. I eat peanut butter and jelly and potato chip sandwiches.
That's a thing.
Okay.
I like potato chips on bologna sandwiches.
Do you put ketchup
I did
on
that
it
when I was a
too?
kid.
I just like potato chips.
No
Yeah, pretty
ketchup.
much.
No ketchup.
Mustard.
They're perfect just the way
Mustard.
they are.
Thank you, Billy.
Perfect just the way you... Anyway,
boy.
before I massacre more Billy Joel,
I know what's on my Amazon wish list for the next thing.
Yeah, we're talking about that next week.
I know,
though.
I am. It's a Star Trek interactive Tribble.
Oh, dear Lord. Is that like a Furby on crack?
I have one of those.
I have a Tribble. It was from...
I own a Tribble. And like, it's
from-
got this little thing where you turn it on and it makes the noise that it makes when it comes into contact with Klingons. And seeing as Klingons are like one of my favorite races in Star Trek, it just makes me so happy.
And if you press a button and leave it alone, it suddenly spawns 12 more toys.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That just seems to happen in our house anyway.
Yes.
Type thing.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to start talking about the 2 Tribble episodes in Star Trek history, the Trouble with Tribbles and Trials and Tribble-ations, the anniversary special that celebrates the previously mentioned episode. So we're going to have some fun talking about something small, furry, and purring, and not a cat for a change. So we'll be right back.
And there it is.
Yep. That's a thing.
You knew exactly what time it was.
The first 2 notes, you know exactly where you are.
The final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. It's a 5-year-long mission.
Keep going.
I got nothing after
Oh,
that.
come on.
It's continuing
Dun,
mission
dun, dun.
5
to
years.
explore strange new worlds.
No one was
You have too much
right.
hair for that particular speech. When you start saying continuing, then you're channeling Next Generation at that point. You have
Okay.
way too much hair for that.
Yep, no, it was Space, the final frontier.
Yep. It's a 5-year mission. Anyway.
I got
The
most of
Trouble
it.
with Tribbles is the 44th episode of Star Trek, the original series, the 15th episode of the second season. It was first broadcast in the United States on December 29th, 1967 on NBC. The episode was the first professional work of writer David Gerald and was directed by Joseph Pevney, who was one of the most prolific directors of the series. In the episode, the Starship Enterprise arrives at Deep Space Station K7 to guard a consignment of grain bound for Sherman's planet. On arrival, a trader named Cyrano Jones gives Lieutenant Uhura a Tribble, a small, furry alien life form with dramatic consequences. Captain James T. Kirk and the crew also have to deal with the arrival of Captain Koloth and his Klingon battlecruiser. But the Tribbles unexpectedly reveal a plot to poison the grain. While initial fan reaction to the episode was mixed, it was more popular with the general public. Critical response to the episode was positive, and it was nominated for the Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentation. It has since been included in several Best of episode lists and features. Trials and Tribble-ations is the 104th episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the 6th episode of the 5th season. It was written as a tribute to the original series of Star Trek in the 30th anniversary year of the show. The idea for the episode was suggested by Renee, and I'm going to massacre this name. Echevarria, I think, but I apologize if I massacred that name. And Ronald D. Moore were credited for their work on the teleplay, with the story credit going to Ira Stephen Bear, Hans Beimler, and Robert Hewitt Wolfe. In this episode, Captain Sisko, played by Avery Brooks, and the crew travel back in time to prevent the assassination of Captain James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise by a Klingon using a booby-trapped Tribble. It was the most watched episode of the 5th season. Trials and Tribble-ations was nominated in 3 Primetime Emmy Award categories and for the Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentations.
Woohoo!
On top of that,
all ties together. On top of that,
there was
Antony.
There was another episode directed in 1973, directed by Hal Sutherland and written by David Gerald, from the animated series.
Oh, from the animated series?
Yep.
So they touch on Tribbles in the animated series too?
Yes, they do. It
Nice.
was more Tribbles, more Troubles.
Now my brain just exploded because I forgot to watch that in the correct order.
Uh-oh.
I didn't know. So we had to watch The Trouble with Tribbles, then the animated series,
Yes.
and then this one.
Well, you would have had a hard time with
No,
this since
I-
your animated series is still on my shelf at home.
Mm-hmm.
I have to bring that back to you.
I did not assign the animated series.
Yes.
That's okay. We still love you.
I had time to watch it though.
I didn't
But it's
even
on
know.
Netflix.
I didn't even know that it had the animated. I knew about the animated series, but I didn't know it had a Tribbles one because Sherry and I were talking about this the other day. And I'm like, ooh. She was like, not a book club, this, West Wing. I'm like, whatever. And she's like, Star Trek, Tribbles. I'm like, yes.
I love the first note. The first note in the trivia list that Sherry put together. The scene in which Kirk is buried in an avalanche of Tribbles took 8 takes to get right.
Oh, I'd love to be in the crew back there.
The Tribbles were thrown into the hatch by members of the production crew. The crew members were not sure when to stop because they were unable to see the scene. This is why additional Tribbles keep falling on Kirk one by one, and William Shatner can be seen looking perplexed as to why more Tribbles keep falling on him.
Yeah.
But also, the best part is they tie that in to Deep Space Nine, where you can see that that's actually Dax and Sisko are in there, and they're scanning other Tribbles looking for the bomb. It's like,
we're like, I want 2 things.
Oh, quick question.
Yes, Sherry.
Should we have started this with spoilers?
I think by now, yeah. Seriously, this is not modern television at this point. This is season 5 of Deep Space Nine was what? It was over 20 years ago.
1996.
Yes,
so it was written and directed.
We're cruising up on almost. What, 30 years?
I'm 21. I was born in 97, so...
Okay, so it's over 20 years since... So, okay, listener. Spoiler alert. Ready? Okay, everybody do it the right way. Ready? Spoilers!
Sweetie.
Yes. All right. So, anyway...
The original writer, David Gerrold, actually appeared in the 96 episode.
Oh, did he?
As a security guard.
He was a security guard on K7?
Yeah.
Or on Deep Space Nine?
No, actually, it was on the spaceship.
Oh, he was on
He was on Enterprise.
He was on Enterprise?
Yeah.
That's kind of fitting for him.
He was originally supposed to be in the episode. He was supposed to be the third person who was with Scotty and Chekhov in the bar.
Okay.
He actually wrote that part for himself, but it was decided he looked way too young and he was way too skinny.
Okay. So they used Kirk's stunt double.
Yeah, so instead they used Kirk's stunt double, which is kind of an inside joke with
Is that why in the...
That's why Chief O'Brien keeps thinking that was Kirk.
That's funny.
They're making references to the fact that... I just
got a joke.
Yep.
Yay.
That's Kirk.
Billy was today years old when he learned that one.
So was I.
Yeah, that was Kirk's stunt double, and so they fit him into the scene because they felt that Gerald was the wrong fit.
Yes.
So.
Which is why they eventually let him be in Trials and Tribble-ations.
Mm-hmm.
Was to give him that back. He's very interesting. He not only wrote the episode,
mm-hmm.
he do you guys remember, I don't know that they do them anymore, do you guys remember the books that they used to put out? They were like story versions of books.
The James Blish.
Pictures.
The James Blish novelizations. Oh, no, I know which ones you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah.
The photograph with the... Yes, I do remember those. I had a bunch of them with the word balloons with the script.
Yes.
Yes.
David Gerrold wrote that version of Trouble with Tribbles, along with writing the screenplay. Then he wrote the novelization of Trials and Tribble-ations, which I actually own.
That's cool.
That's exciting. He was very excited to write and direct the episode because he got to. It was the first time he actually got to use Michelle Nichols' character, Lieutenant Uhura, and consequently, Michelle Nichols was very excited for the episode because she had a larger role.
That's cool, and I think that led to. I think she had a little bit more of a prominence in the later half of
season 2. After she showed her acting chops in Trouble with Tribbles.
Yeah,
she had a larger role in the.
Yeah, the writers were a little more happier. They were a little more confident in using her, which they should have been all along. But they're going to be stupid that way.
Wasn't the famous interracial kiss between Kirk and Uhura? Didn't that take place in the latter half of season 2?
I think so.
I think
so. We'll do some research on that. I'm looking through the trivia list, and I got an absolute kick out of during the famous bar fight scene.
I just looked at that.
Yeah, careful observers will note that while tables are broken, all of the chairs remain intact. That's because the tables were studio property, but the chairs were rented.
It's
And if they damaged, they would have to be paid for.
It's funny because when we were watching it the other night, that was like the one thing I mentioned. I'm like, okay, they're being quote unquote flipped over tables in both of the things, but I didn't see any of the tables quote unquote get broken or fall over or whatever when they were being tossed over them and sliding over the tables. And you would think with the post or the pedestal that it's on that it would break very easily, but I didn't necessarily see that. But I don't know, did anyone else truly see the tables get broken?
I really wasn't paying much attention to that. I was
think
watching
I remember seeing like one or two tables like breaking in half. Kind of, but they were like the circular tables, right?
They were like oval.
Yeah.
They were oval, and they were like sliding across them, and you could see that
sometimes they would like fall over, but they wouldn't like. I don't think they would break.
No, but
unquote.
I loved the alien Tribble seller behind the bar ordering all the drinks, and it was definitely slapstick coming through there with.
And I think that's the episode is not a serious episode. They were playing a lot of it for laughs. Kirk's attitude towards the administrator, for instance, Barris, was hilarious. He was just like, "Oh, I take this seriously. I just don't take you seriously." You know,
very dismissive.
Very dismissive of him, and the guy really earned it too. He was the pompous ass, you know. So that was.
So
that was Patty Duke's father from the Patty Duke Show.
Oh, that was. Well, I knew I recognized him. It was that character actor. He's been in a ton of stuff.
William Shallert.
Okay, that's the name.
His name.
That's the name I was trying to think of.
Actually, the animated series episode, David Gerrold actually pitched it for season 3. But it was a lot of people who worked on the show weren't real happy with Trouble with Tribbles because of the comedy. So they said no, but then they brought it. Then they said yes for the animated series, which was much more comedy.
Yeah, I'm seeing the note here. Despite the episode's popularity, the producer, Robert Justman, wrote in the book Inside Star Trek, The Real Story, that he never liked the episode. He just felt that the humor was too over the top.
Yeah.
Kind of fits in that.
The guy who played Koloth actually made several appearances in DS9.
As Koloth.
Yeah. William Campbell, I believe.
Yep. And with Koloth with his cranial ridges all intact and everything.
Yeah.
So like
we
a proper.
We don't discuss it.
We don't. We don't discuss it with outsiders. You know the funny thing. I was talking to Tanya about it when we were watching the episode. The funny thing is Trials and Tribble-ations was written before Star Trek Enterprise was produced.
Yeah.
Okay. And the great thing is during the conversation with Worf in the bar scene, Bashir and O'Brien are trying to come up with an idea of was it genetic mutation?
Virus.
Was it a virus thing? And we don't talk about it with outsiders. Now, years later in Star Trek Enterprise, they had this whole 2 or 3 story arc where they explain what happened and how Klingons some of them lost their forehead ridges. It was because of a genetic mutation due to a virus. So they took both of the things that O'Brien and Bashir said and actually made it into canon years later.
Yep.
I thought that was hilarious.
Okay, so the Klingons that were on K7.
On Star Trek, the Klingons...
They're the ones that have been mutated and had the virus, so
all
lost
the Klingons
all the
you see
ridges.
in the original series.
Lost their ridges. Okay.
Lost their ridges.
I love how Star Trek will use just previous mentions of random things. Like, for instance, James T. Kirk, Tiberius.
Right.
That became canon in the animated series.
Yes. And it wasn't actually in the original series. It was always James T., and there was like some books that made reference to the fact that his middle name was Thomas or something like that. But then the animated series came up with Tiberius, and it's stuck, and that was it. And the movies never since. It was Tiberius.
And for people listening that don't know what we're talking about in terms of the 2 episodes, I just realized we didn't explain that. Well, we started to actually. The connection between the 2 episodes. There's the classic Trouble with Tribbles. And the crew of Deep Space Nine gets
sent back in time
because they have to prevent the assassination of Captain Kirk.
Right, which is in the intro.
Oh, did we mention
that?
It
was in the intro.
I wasn't. I should listen to this podcast. I hear it's really good.
This is a really good podcast, Billy. I think you'd enjoy listening to it.
I should check it out sometime.
I'm telling you, put it on your playlist.
Yeah.
Right after Kevin Smith.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. We still love you, man. All right, all together, everybody. Billy. Anyway.
Dilly.
Yeah. Billy.
Yeah. Ugh.
Where do you think I got it from?
No, that's okay. I think
I like my
someone on the
version
phone
better.
was going to say something.
Okay, somebody on the phone was going to say something. Go ahead.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
What I was going to say was, one of the characters that they have in the original series episode, Dax meets, and you meet later on, or earlier in Deep Space Nine,
Mm-hmm.
and he has the Ridges then.
And he had the what?
So that kind of screws with things.
You got what?
He had the ridges then? Is that what you said?
Oh, Koloff?
Oh, right.
Oh, Koloff.
Yeah,
Well,
call.
in Enterprise, they explain it as some of the Klingons who had the genetic mutation would go into get cranial reconstruction where they redo the ridges.
Yeah.
So
Ridge
Plastic
implants.
Plastic surgery for everybody.
Ridge implants.
Even
Ridge
in the 24th century, 23rd century. What
I
century
want to
is
be
it?
the cosmetic surgeon that has Klingons for a clientele.
Oh,
Good God, y'all.
the one thing that I do remember from the episode, at the end, they ask him which Enterprise was it, and he says the first one. And I always thought, after they came out with Enterprise, that's the second Enterprise. What are they talking
It is.
about?
I know. See,
It always was.
here's the thing about Star Trek is that we've made mention of the fact that they're really good at making callbacks and recycling actors to do different parts and things like that. But they are also continuity terrors.
Yeah.
Okay, Star Trek will screw with its own continuity and not even think twice about it.
Alternate universe.
Oh yeah, that's it. Exactly. Sure. Yeah.
Now, I think my guess is the canon explanation is probably something along the lines of, the original Enterprise wasn't a Federation ship.
No, it's the original 1701. Just
Yeah.
leave, but because the first quote unquote, and you're right, there was a start. It was an Earth ship. Was
Yeah.
the first Enterprise, but it was also NX-01, so there's no
Yeah.
17s involved. Yeah, so we can nerd out. Oh yeah, Tanya rolled her eyes at me the other day when we were watching it. She's pointing out Federation starships. She's like, "Okay, what's that one?" I'm like, "Oh, that's Nebula class." Well, what's that one? That's Constitution. And they start rifling off. Yeah, your first Enterprise was was a Constitution class, then it was a Constitution refit, then Excelsior, then Ambassador, then Galaxy, then Sovereign. And in the game Star Trek Online, it's an Odyssey class.
Yeah, it's actually really not. STO is really good on teaching you the ships.
Yes, and sticking to canon.
Or
trying to.
Right now, my STO...
So what ship are they on now?
In the movies, the last one was the Sovereign.
The
Enterprise
Nina,
E.
the Pincher, and the Santa,
Santa
Maria.
Maria.
Yeah,
Exactly.
The Discovery is, a Springfield class?
Discovery is Crossfield.
Ah, my bad. I knew it was field something.
All I know is, according to my birthday, I'm the Defiant. So
And the Shenzhou is a Walker class.
Yeah. My current ship on STO is a Vorgon Dreadnought, so
Oh, Jesus. Those things they're 2 miles long?
something like that. They're crazy.
Crazy huge.
they did, even though it was continuity issues, they did such a good job with DS9 being able to superimpose them into
the special effects.
The special effects.
That's
It was seamless.
It was fantastic. And that's why Back to the Future 2, in a very controversial statement, I like better than the first one.
Why is that?
Because of the way they seamlessly put the current version of, when they go back to the sea, under the enchantment sea dance or whatever it's called. When they go back, they seamlessly incorporate the original footage from the original Back to the Future in with Michael J. Fox and the rest running around that whole sequence at the same time. And that's where Trials and Tribble-ations reminded me of that Back to the Future 2. I think it's such a clever use of old footage.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic special effects, or however they do it.
Well, both. I mean, that's the thing is I thought that was the best because you normally when you see a superimposing of an actor into a scene that already pre-existed,
Especially in the 90s, it was you see bad 90s FX. It's very common. It's special effects, and someone spent maybe 20 minutes working on it.
Yeah, but in Trials and Tribble-ations, the Deep Space Nine episode, it was you couldn't tell.
And it was very nice.
They even used it to explain some continuity errors in the original episode.
Right.
Like the fight scene you mentioned before. There was no one with a blue shirt in that fight scene. But Deep Space Nine included a couple blue shirts in there so that when Kirk is balling people out, Those are the blue shirts he's talking to, the Deep Space Nine people.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I think we're just that's like, well, the one scene where the special effects was almost apparent was when Kirk comes up onto the bridge and he sits down on the Tribble accidentally, and Dax is in the background.
Yeah,
There's just enough of a fuzz around her that she looks a little out of place.
She seemed too tall for that.
She seemed too tall for the scene. That was the only. I mean, every time it was flawless when Kirk is drubbing down the line of officers after the bar fight. I mean, O'Brien and Bashir are there, and it looks like the scene was refilmed with just from scratch with them in it.
It was really cool how they took one of the one-off characters that Kirk's like, "Did you do this?" and they replaced him with O'Brien.
Yeah,
I thought that was absolutely fantastic.
Really well done.
Yeah,
Sybil, darling.
Hi.
Hi, there she is.
She's watching Deep Space Nine.
She's watching the episode right now with Bailey the dog.
I actually watched both episodes back to back.
Yes.
It was pretty cool doing it that way.
Yeah, that's what we did.
I think I got a better appreciation for watching them back to back like that, one right after the other, because certain things you see that it's not so much one made more sense because of it, but you could see the callbacks and all the little subtle references.
Yes,
you could see the subtle references a lot better.
It was nice how they weaved both stories together. It's almost seamless. It was seamlessly weaved together, which was pretty cool how they did that.
I love how Dax was allegedly fangirling, and they Cisco really thought she was
talking about Kirk.
But
no,
she's
Spock.
Yeah. When they came,
I thought that was particularly funny considering who the actress had eventually married.
In 2017, Terry Farrell got engaged to Leonard Nimoy's son Adam Nimoy, and they're now married.
That's amazing. Yeah. So there's Star Trek has that way of just kind of keeping everything all together for some, either both off and on camera. It's
she
weird.
had to marry him for continuity's sake.
For continuity.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Monk.
Yes.
Both of these episodes were filmed before you were even born, Sweet Pea, and so you have that hindsight of looking back at as a younger viewer. What did you think of both of them together?
The original episode, the fighting, it was very not real. It was kind of funny.
Well, it's the Captain Kirk fight scenes. Come on.
The fist 2 feet away from the face.
Yes. Well, you got stage choreography that are 30 years apart from each other.
Yeah, plus the original was filmed specifically for TV that was 12 inches wide?
Yeah, something like that. So you're really not going to see the detail like we're going to see on a 55-inch LED.
Yeah.
Now, I think the amusing thing for me was in the bar fight in the Deep Space Nine episode, Worf is now in the fight. And so here's a Klingon beating up other Klingons, and he's showing them how it's done, basically, how it's going.
Okay, keep going, Monk.
Keep going, Monk.
Oh, okay.
You're now officially on the spot. Enjoy.
Yes, I know. Yay! But it was actually extremely funny watching Kirk get hit with the Tribbles, and all I could think was, hey, were they making a game out of it to see how many points they could win by how many times they could hit Shatner with the Tribble?
10 points if it goes through his head.
Exactly.
It's the Tribble dump, the drinking game.
And I'm pretty sure both episodes are on my special, Klingon box. I've got this box set with a bunch of Klingon episodes where it's just, it's learning about stuff, and I'm a little upset because it doesn't have Worf's wedding, which would be a great one for that box set.
Okay.
But I do. I love these episodes because I love Tribble, and I just absolutely adore Worf. So
She adores Worf.
Is he your favorite character?
he's one of them, yes. I tend to like the Klingons and the Vulcans. They tend to be my favorites.
Now, why is that, do you think?
I don't know.
It's just a gut feeling. She's going to roll with it.
Did you know that the working title for this episode was A Fuzzy Thing Happened to Me?
Oh, dear Lord. Was that for the original series?
Yeah.
Originally, Tribbles were called Fuzzies. Do you know why they changed it?
Tell me.
It's because of one of my favorite old sci-fi books. It was called Little Fuzzy, and it was by H. Piper Bean. And there were little fuzzy little creatures in it that they called Fuzzies, so they had to change the name and that's why they changed them to Tribbles, because they couldn't use Fuzzies.
Didn't they buy the rights to that book in order to avoid like legal troubles down the road?
Not that I've ever heard of.
I think I read somewhere that they like bought rights to a book in order to avoid legal troubles, and the author only asked for a signed copy of the script. Let me see if it...
Wasn't Little Fuzzy. Little Fuzzy's been in public domain for a long time.
Sorry, no, it was Robert A. Heinlein's novel, The Rolling Stones, from 1952. The concerns were brought to the research team, who suggested purchasing the rights to the novel, because Geralt thought that the creatures seemed very similar to the Tribbles seemed similar to his creatures.
Okay.
I just love it that everyone was so enamored with the Tribbles in the original episode, and it even looked like Spock was softening.
Yeah, he was.
To a point,
Yeah.
and he's like, whatever. But then he makes a joke while speaking to McCoy. McCoy states that everyone likes the Tribbles because they're soft and furry and they make a pleasant sound. But Spock replies, so would an ermine violin.
Yeah.
So he made a
Spock
joke.
made a one-liner.
Yes.
What's up with that?
I don't know.
That
but
was
He made more
fantastic.
than one.
Ma-
He made more than one.
What was his other one?
When he said to McCoy, I like them. They don't talk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Spock was getting a sense of humor on in this
Yes.
particular
Yes, he
episode.
was.
I remember watching a YouTube video about the like time comparison between the two episodes. Like, if the events happened exactly as the DS9 episode occurred, the actual episode would have been about like 30 minutes,
Okay,
as opposed to like the 45 minutes runtime.
gotcha.
So
You're saying that they weren't quite meshing.
They had to like squish some scenes down for time and extend other ones out, and in order to like fit it with the episode.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it goes back to the whole like editing process. You probably didn't even notice it while watching the episodes.
No, probably not. No, I'm back to back. That was something I didn't even think of.
No, but I think what was good for the Deep Space Nine is that Cisco is telling this story of what happened to the Federation temporal investigators, Dolmer and Luxley, which could be Mulder and Scully.
Yes, they make those references
Make
often
that
when those two
reference.
show up.
So, because like he's quote unquote flashing back to this is what happened, so they could draw out the episode a little bit longer in regards to that particular thing. But I just love it at the end. It's like, did they ask? He goes, nope. It's like, what are we gonna do? And Dax is like, build another space station.
Yeah,
And they pan back, and there's a whole bunch
all the
of
Tribbles.
So,
They've
And
helped
then the next
repopulate.
episode, they're all gone.
Well,
because
just beam them onto the nearest Klingon ship. It's all good.
Well, because it's funny because like the Klingons went and hunted them all down to extinction, and now
They're
back on DS9,
Which
and I
is not
think-
the first time that Star Trek did a time travel thing to re-establish an extinct species.
So yeah,
Explain.
The humpback
whales.
whales in
yes,
The
in the
whale.
voyage
Home.
for Star Trek 4, the voyage
Yes.
home. They used a Klingon ship to do it.
Yep.
Gee,
Yes,
the
they
Klingons are
The
useful.
Klingons are good for figuring out how to reestablish extinct species. Apparently,
But they all hate Tribbles.
but could it be that like one of the DS9 characters inadvertently brought one of the Tribbles back, and then all of a sudden, poof,
They're
You know what?
back.
There is a piece of trivia on this list that is wrong.
okay.
Uh-oh.
What is it?
It says that basically this is the only time you see Tribbles in any of the newer forms, what are referred to as the Next Generation shows, Next
Yep.
Generation, Deep Space Nine, or Voyager. But it's not. There is in an early Loaxana Troy episode on Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
She has a Tribble.
Oh, really?
She has a neutered Tribble.
Oh, God.
Because they try to tell her she can't have it on the station, but she says no, it can't reproduce. So they're not completely wiped out. They're just very rare and incredibly regulated.
Yeah.
What does McCoy say? What does McCoy say? He's like,
they
can almost
pregnant.
They're born pregnant, and they can almost seem to reproduce at will. And oh, dear Lord, they've got a will.
Yes, they do.
All right, go ahead.
And they were in the Star Trek 2009 series. There's the second one. McCoy brings one back from the dead.
Yeah, into darkness using Khan's blood.
Yep.
There's Tribbles all over the place. I don't think you ever. Do we foresee another Tribble appearance in any future Star Trek properties?
I wouldn't be surprised if we eventually saw one in Discovery.
On Discovery?
I think it would be a nice little departure because Discovery is very grim and dark. I think it would be a very nice way to lighten the mood.
Mm-hmm. Second season of Discovery's coming up. I'm very much looking forward to that one. I enjoyed the first season.
I did too.
I did, but we'll talk about that another time.
Star Trek Discovery brought back a beloved life form as an important Easter egg. October 2nd, 2017. You can see that there is a Tribble back here.
Oh God, you can see it. It's right on the captain's desk in his ready room.
In its war with the Klingon Empire, Starfleet officers aboard the USS Discovery may have introduced a much-needed weapon to defend themselves.
The Tribble.
The Tribble.
Last night's episode of Discovery brought back a delightful little Tribble who fans of the original series will remember the adorable balls of fluff capable of asexual reproduction that can get out of hand and dangerous if not stopped. Now, it's funny because McCoy, didn't he say bisexual instead of asexual?
I don't remember. Yeah, bi.
He said bisexual. And I'm like,
oh, are we really going to be continuity picky like that?
That was like,
come on.
I stopped and thought,
I did remember. I told you a story way back many years ago. I was playing an online Star Trek game, ATS, Trek Mush. All right, so it was when it was an all text interactive. It was basically the original version of MMOs. All right, and it was a privately run, free to play game. It was a lot of fun, but that's where I met a lot of my current friends, and one of the admin coded up what we affectionately called the Tribble bomb. It was an item that when you engaged it, it would start self-replicating. And then the other ones would start self-replicating. So he named it Tribble, and then he gave it to me, and I was a Starfleet captain. And, of course, the first thing I did was track down the nearest Klingon ship and beamed it on board and ran for my life.
That's humorous.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Tribbles were brought back on Discovery.
Okay, so that has been across all of the properties.
Does not like Tribbles?
I have a Tribble. I got it from a loot crate.
Oh, that's exciting.
Dan has a Tribble also. I think
He
it's
does?
the same color. It's like an orange fluffy thing.
Yes.
The actual making of a Tribble is actually rather easy. You just take some artificial fur, fold it in on itself, fill it with either stuffing or little beans, and then sew it up.
Well, these were made from old carpet as the background. Mm-hmm. They were off-cut fur garments. The Tribbles that were able to move had mechanical toys in them.
Mm-hmm.
Dog toys.
Huh?
They were dog toys.
It's funny because you look like Shatner is piled with 20 million of them, but truly only 500 Tribbles were on set.
500 is enough.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Hey,
Not
Sherry.
like the million that Spock said.
1,700,000 and some odd something.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Sherry, the book you mentioned earlier, the one with the pictures from the TV show and the word balloons, you can buy them at thriftbooks.com. The Trouble with Tribbles one you can buy for about between $3 and $5, depending on the condition.
So
I loved those books when I was a kid.
I did, too.
Fun fact, David Gerrold actually wrote a book about the production and creation of Tribbles in 1973 called Trouble with Tribbles, The Birth, Sale, and Final Production of One Episode.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've actually read it. It's really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
What I thought was really interesting about the Trials and Tribble-ations is it wasn't really their first choice for their 30th anniversary episode.
Uh-huh.
They were actually kicking around a bunch of different ones, and it was a bunch of the production, the high up producers, including Ira Stephen Bear, were sitting in a pizza place, and we're discussing it. They were kicking around Charlie X. They were kicking around a piece of the action, and they were kicking around Trials, and they were kicking around Trouble with Tribbles, and they were trying to decide. And who should walk in but Charlie Brill, who played Arn Darvin in the original episode.
Okay. So it was almost like a
and
sign.
He walked in, and they went, okay, I guess that decided it, and they offered him the role right there.
A piece of the action would have been an interesting 30th anniversary.
Oh, I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
Would, instead of channeling the Untouchables, would they start going with the Sopranos?
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I think it'd be funny.
No, but the idea for it was going back to that planet and finding out that they had based it on the original series characters.
Okay.
On Spock and Kirk and...
They would have changed their whole MO from Gangsterville to STOville. Sorry, TOSville.
Yeah.
Little brainstorming here. What if Joan Collins walked in? Do we get City on the Edge of Forever and
wow.
ever and ever?
That was a great episode.
Died.
I want to talk more about that episode
but maybe
sometime.
she winds up living. Once and
you have to kill her again or
Yeah.
something like that.
She has to come back to life.
Oh, no.
It turns out that a doctor saved her, and now you have to kill her again.
Yeah, well, It's funny that you mentioned that episode because you remember how it said that it was that Trouble with Tribbles was nominated for a Hugo.
Mm-hmm.
That City on the Edge of Forever, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Was the one that won.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Yeah. In fact, that year, all of the nominations for dramatic presentation were all Star Trek episodes.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. So, gee, I wonder who's going to win.
I don't think it's going to be Star Trek, guys. Yeah, they. What was it?
Tony's trying to think of something. Can you smell the smoke in the studio?
Yes, I can. So DS9 did a really nice job of continuity between old TOS episodes and DS9.
Okay.
The Mirror Mirror episodes were fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
See, Mirror Mirror is one of my favorite episodes, and now like I said, this was my first Deep Space Nine episode. Mm-hmm. Was there a series of Mirror Mirror?
Oh, yeah.
They go back and forth
4 or
a lot.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in these past couple of seasons that Trial and Tribble-ations is part of.
Yeah.
And they wrote 2 really excellent books that take place in the Mirror universe in the Deep Space Nine time period Mirror universe.
Yeah.
I love that Mirror Mirror is so often parodied or homaged.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see the episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000 where they do a Mirror Mirror episode?
No.
With evil versions of Joel and the bots.
I did not know
mocking the movies. And
that's amazing.
It's very funny.
Sybil, I know you're a big MST3K person. Did you ever catch that episode?
No, I missed that episode.
Uh-oh. I think, okay, we're going to have to track that one down.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to.
He's searching it out now.
It is.
Yeah. In general, the writing for DS9 was really good. A lot better than I think a lot of people give it credit for.
Mm-hmm. Well,
DS9 is definitely one of my favorite, probably my favorite Star Trek series.
And
It's
that's a
my
popular
favorite
opinion,
show.
actually. There's a lot of people who are like Deep Space Nine is of all of the properties the best of them, and I'm wondering it's because of the war arc.
The war arc was fantastic. My favorite
Yeah, it was.
episode from DS9 actually comes from it. The episode where Cisco gets the Romulans on board for the war effort.
Let's not talk more about that one because Billy hasn't seen it yet.
Okay.
But
Spoilers.
But seriously, that episode is badass, and it shows you. Everybody's used to the happy, fluffy Federation.
Oh, yeah.
They're
no,
not
it's-
used to the Federation when it's been at war for a long time and has just had enough of being the good
Yeah,
guy.
and I think Star Trek Discovery has tapped into that to
Yep.
some degree.
And do you feel that that's... Go ahead, Sherry.
What's interesting, though, is it's because of that type of storytelling that so many Star Trek fans are not a fan of Deep Space Nine, because it's because they had to stay there. They're not traveling. They're not meeting all of these new species every week type thing.
Right.
They had to figure out a different type of storytelling, and the characters on Deep Space Nine, and what I love about them is how flawed they are.
Yes.
And that is...
Makes them more
I think,
relatable.
Really, I think it makes them a much more interesting story because of that.
Now, Deep Space Nine and Babylon 5, they were out at the same time, weren't they?
Thereabouts.
Thereabouts?
Yeah, around the same time.
Who was first? Did Deep Space Nine take over or take the airways first before Babylon 5?
First.
I don't know offhand.
I think
Deep Space Nine came out first.
All right. Because you could see how basically both series were very similar to, I wouldn't say identical, but they were very similar to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you get that storytelling challenge that Sherry was just talking about, where you're not adventuring out into the unknown and finding all this stuff. You had to wait for it to come to you.
Yeah.
And both of them had a very serious war arc that led the tail end of their respective series.
Yep. I think DS9 did an excellent job in like showing the flaw in the characters, especially like. Do you remember the Q episode in DS9?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Deep Space Nine came out the year before Babylon 5 did.
Nice. Full year.
Okay.
So in the Q episode, well, never mind. I'm not going to spoil it for Billy. Sorry, Billy.
No, go ahead.
Q actually points out like Cisco's flaw is he's very emotional and very irritable, and he can mess with him.
Mm-hmm.
You punched me. Nobody's ever done that.
Picard never hit me. I'm not
never hit
Picard.
me.
Oh, how fun this is going to be.
And he never came back.
Yep.
Never came back.
And just to follow up on something I said, the Mirror episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000, I was wrong. It was a Mike episode from the 6th season called Last of the Wild Horses. And the description, one of the few episodes with a distinct plot entirely unrelated to the movie being riffed. The host segments in this episode parody the classic Star Trek episode Mirror, with Tom Servo and Gypsy transported to the Mirror universe, where an evil Mike Nelson and the bots torment Clayton Forrester and TV's Frank with bad movies. So it's TV's Frank and Clayton Forrester that riff on the movie, while evil Mike and the bots are the scientists in this. And it's ridiculous, if I remember correctly.
Well, that's MST3K for you.
Yeah.
Everything was kind of ridiculous for them.
And so Tom Servo, the evil Tom Servo, is in the normal MST universe, except he has the little goatee like Sulu.
No, Spock was the goatee one.
No,
Spock. That's how you knew it was
he's
evil
like
Spock.
a ninja. It says evil Tom Servo's character is reminiscent of Hikaru Sulu from the Mirror universe.
Has like the scar across his face.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's that if you want to track it down.
Now, Sulu was not in The Trouble with Tribbles.
He was not.
Because George Takei was off filming a movie at the time. So all of his spots that he would have been a part of were given to Chekhov.
Okay. Very Chekhov heavy.
You know
Go ahead,
what's
Sherry.
interesting? The episode that Voyager did for the 30th anniversary special, they had two actors from the original series in it.
Okay.
They had two characters, Sulu and they had Rand.
Okay.
Neither of which appeared in this episode.
That's true.
They neither appeared in Trouble with Tribbles.
Now, what's the homage in Voyager? They didn't do a Tribble episode. What did they do?
No, they did. They went back to what was Sulu's ship during Undiscovered Country.
They went
Excelsior.
back to the movies.
Yes, they went back to the movie. They did the Excelsior. They because Tuvok actually served on the Excelsior.
I remember that episode.
Yeah.
I read the
remember.
novelization for it actually in about 3 hours.
It was a
That
good.
was a very good episode, also.
Yeah. Honestly, I remember it. It wasn't my favorite Voyager episode, but it was definitely well done.
Yeah.
I have this whole opinion on Voyager anyway, and it's not positive. So
I mean,
I
I think
like Voyager.
I think certain parts of it has it. It like most other shows has its high points and low points. And overall, I think it was a very decent show. But I think DS9 and Next Gen were the better two Star Trek series.
yeah, and Enterprise had a lot of potential, but Brandon Braga broke it from the beginning. You know, when they set up the whole temporal war and all that stuff, I was just like, oh, Brandon, no, go back to watching Doctor Who. Try not to write it. You know, it was
the
just
Enterprise,
bad.
what was it, X or whatever it was, the one that was like
NX-01?
No, the one from the
The J, 1701J.
I really hated its design. It was just so infeasibly large.
Yes. It was just horribly designed. But the whole show was horribly, and then they insulted the entire cast at the end when they basically made the entire show a holodeck adventure for Riker.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what?
I will say that I did enjoy the whole like introduction and exploration of Andorian culture. Mm-hmm. I love the Andorians, and they're probably my favorite alien race from Star Trek.
Why is that?
I like the color blue.
Okay, that works.
Plus, like the whole like concept of like they're a warrior culture, but not like overtly warriors. Mm-hmm. And they come from a cold planet. Mm-hmm. I like that.
You like the cold.
I like the cold.
All right, so this is your time of year then.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, we got the other end of the spectrum to my right over here.
Not a chance.
All right, so what do we want to bring up about these episodes that we have not talked about yet?
If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now I want to go
And
back and restart
There's
DS9.
so much fun to watch back to back.
Say that again?
They were fun to watch
There's
back
so
to back.
much fun to watch back to back.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the right way to do it, was to watch Trouble with Tribbles and then turn around and watch Trials and Tribble-ations together. It really helped tie the room together. It was like a rug. It was good. Sorry. I haven't watched Big Lebowski in a while.
Now, this was the first episode of DS9 that Billy had seen. Now, he said he's just finishing Next Generation or getting ready to finish
now
Next
do I have to
Generation.
go back to the original series and start over again?
I don't think so.
No.
I know. I've seen those
No.
dozens of times.
No, but
so.
you can now, because
Yeah.
I definitely want to pick up DS9 and start it. I mean, I was working on Next Generation. I was working on Voyager, but Randy's working on Voyager also. So we're screwing up each other's episodes. So I had to stop Voyager and go over to Next Generation so he could finish it. So he's almost done. So I think I'm going to go to DS9.
I used to watch Star Trek specifically because it was like the episodes were 45 minutes long. They were on Netflix, and that 45 minutes was about how long it took for a load of laundry to go through.
There's a college mentality for you.
Done that.
Oh, well, Randy uses it he'll like watch 1 or 2 episodes on the treadmill.
That's what I did with Quantum Leap
That
Yeah.
he uses it for the treadmill.
for treadmill.
So,
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
yeah. I mean, I've actually watched like an 1.5 to 2 hour movie while on the treadmill. Mm-hmm. So, because I'm like, well, I'm going to be on the treadmill, and I'll put something in that
It's kinda
forces
like-
me to stay on the treadmill for a while.
It's kind of like easy listening, but with like TV, easy watching.
And it's easier for me to watch it on my iPad than using it on the TV with Netflix, because the headphones with the TV, it's mono instead of stereo. So I only get it in one ear. It's kind of like sometimes the headphones here.
So for me, it actually doesn't matter because I can't hear out of my left ear.
Oh.
So
There you go.
It all works out.
Yeah. But
No more.
It was just nice to revisit.
Yeah.
Star
yeah,
Trek.
it just made me think about, wow, I really like these episodes.
It was fun, yeah.
And I want to be back on that ship.
plus it gears you up for Discovery coming back.
January.
January.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
It's good. I'll give you my my CBS All Access account.
Okay.
You can watch it at home.
I will say I have mixed feelings about like how they did the Klingons. At least like the makeup.
Yeah.
for
Are ridges gone again?
No. They made the ridges way more pronounced than they had previously been, and they got rid of their hair.
Yeah.
And for me, like growing up, that was a big part of Klingons. So I'm very like on the fence on how I feel about how they did the makeup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like looking at them in Discovery and wondering why do they look so different, and that totally explains it. Their ridges are ginormous. It takes
Yeah.
away from the actual story sometimes.
Huge ridges. They changed them from like brown to purple.
Yeah. I was noticing
and-
that too. Various shades of purple.
Yeah, and they got rid of their hair.
I'll tell you what I liked about Discovery's portrayal of the Klingons is I just think that when they're talking in the language all the time with the subtitles, that adds something to it.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree with
I
that.
gotta really dig how the Klingons were full on Klingon all the time. Nobody speaking English unless they had to, and when they did, it was with this thick accent as
Yeah.
well. So it was
Well,
I thought that was kind of cool.
I always thought of it as it was being fed through the universal translator.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it doesn't really break my immersion
Yeah.
either way. But I think they did I think I'm still on the fence with the Klingons, but otherwise, I really appreciate like the storytelling in Discovery, especially the second half in the Mirror Mirror universe.
Right. Spoiler.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I think Chris is throwing things over here.
I'm not trying to. It's just a thing that happens.
Oh, okay.
Smile and nod.
Smile and wave, boys.
Smile and wave. All right, so
I think at this point it's
we're
like
in good shape.
People need to just go and watch it.
You need to go watch it.
So you can fully enjoy it like we did.
Absolutely.
It's just something you sit back and have fun with. It's not
Yeah.
something that you over analyze. No, we just did, but that's
But
part
that's
of
our job.
to
Yeah, that's our job to
overanalyze.
do that.
But it's
Except-
your job is to go and enjoy it
Now I want the picture book, and I need to watch the animated episode.
because you're a completist.
Yeah.
Then I need to go buy a Tribble. And
You're wonderfully consistent.
We'll
Billy
we'll
Bell.
talk about the Tribbles and buying Tribbles next episode.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we do, when we come back, we're going to have our events list. And we've got some other things going on as well. So we'll talk to you in a moment. All right. So that was fun. That was good.
Fun. Thank you, Billy, for editing out the yawn.
Yeah,
'cause I
okay.
wasn't bored with you guys. I'm
We
just
didn't know
really
that you had
tired.
done that until you just mentioned it. Thank you very much.
I was yawning.
Thanks for that, ruining the magic of radio.
Actually, just a little behind the scenes.
Yes.
Back in a few years ago, back when Drew Bledsoe was the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, Brother Weeze talked to him every Monday morning after the game.
Okay.
And I still remember, he'd been up late,
Yeah.
it was a night game or whatever. I still remember, we're talking to him, just out of nowhere, I just sort of, and so it still gets brought up every once in a while.
I think I heard you guys talking about it recently, as a
Yeah.
matter of fact.
Drew Bledsoe yawning into the
That's
into
hilarious.
the phone while he's talking to
Yeah,
us.
well, I'm sorry. I was a little sleepy.
Sybil, how you holding up?
I dare you to yawn.
I'm good.
I'm good.
No, wait, she's like, I'm watching Deep Space
I'm
Nine.
asleep.
Leave me alone.
I'm not just yawning, I'm
I'm
sleeping.
doing housework. I'm keeping you guys on mute while I'm walking around the house because if I sit down, the dogs will try to jump on me and bark at me and try to eat the earphones.
Oh, jeez.
Bailey doesn't like it when I'm not paying attention to him.
Oh, gee. It sounds like my child.
Yes, it does.
He's a very jealous dog. If I'm on the phone where the phone's against my head, he'll stick his nose between the phone and my cheek.
Oh, my God, that's cute.
Sounds like my cat.
Yeah, sounds like most animals. Why are you not paying attention to me, human?
Exactly. So I'm walking around doing cleaning up a little bit, going up and downstairs. So I have you guys on mute. That's why it takes me a second to respond. So I have to wake my phone up and hit unmute.
I'm gonna give you a heads up. Then I'm gonna say, Sybil, I'm coming to you in a moment.
Yay!
Yay! So, hey, we've got some event. We have an event coming up. Wine
Christmas.
Wine. There's that.
After Christmas. This is a perfect Christmas present.
This is a Christmas present in the making here. Wine and Design fundraiser for the Mighty Monkey Corporation. It is going to be tickets are $35. Please register and complete the payment to get that credit. BYO wine and beer and snacks, or purchase from them. We are going to provide the glasses and corkscrews. Ages 16 and under must be accompanied by an adult for the adult classes. Coupons and other discounts are not available for the fundraisers. And tickets are already on sale, and tickets are already selling. So don't wait and miss out. This will make a great Christmas present. This is going to be on the 26th of January in 2019. It's at 2 in the afternoon, and it's at 165 Buffalo Road in Rochester. It's in the plaza with the Salvatore's Old Fashioned Pizzeria. So that's going to be a big thing. You guys are going to be painting a Doctor Who themed portrait. I got to get my ticket because I want to be in on this, because I want to see just how bad my art skills really are. That's a thing. This is after the event is when I ask, what do you, if you want to be part of the FC3 Monkey Business and Mighty Monkey Corporation experience, there are a few ways of doing that. The first is to become a sponsor. Hint, hint. We have sponsorship levels of all kinds and are even willing to create custom sponsorship packets. Please contact us at sponsorships@fc3roc.org. The next way to do it is by supporting us on Patreon. Woo-hoo. Please check us out at www.patreon.com/FC3ROC. All membership levels will include access to the Patreon-only blog, plus tons of great perks at all levels. Special shout-outs to our See No Evil tier patrons, James Irish, Jen Bevan, and our very own, my favorite co-host of all time, my only co-host, but anyway, Tanya Mattress.
Thank you.
Want to help others find the show? Please leave us a review wherever you listen to us. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Podbean, YouTube, and Stitcher. Is there a place you find your podcast and can't find FC3 Monkey Business? Let us know, and we'll see what we can do about fixing that. And please follow us on Twitter at FC3MB Podcast. And if you do, say hi. We love it when you say hi. Monk, say hi.
Hi.
There it is. Sybil, say hi. Because I love it when Sybil says hi. That's my favorite thing.
Sybil, we're coming to you.
I know, seriously, I should have given her the heads up. My bad. All right. So, question of the week. It's our usual. It's our favorite. What are you reading, listening to, or playing, or watching that is making your geeky little heart happy right now? Tony, that question's coming to you first, and then Sybil, I'm going to come to you.
So I recently bought the entire Witcher saga.
Okay.
The Witcher is a game developed by CD Projekt Red based off of a Polish novel.
Okay.
It's very interesting. I'm enjoying it very much.
Aren't they making that into a TV show?
They are, with the guy who played Superman.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah. I'm not actually looking forward to it because I've heard some very discouraging things coming out of their production.
Such as?
They're handicapping a lot of Henry Cavill's acting capabilities, and there's a lot of shifting directors.
Well, that seems to be consistent. People are good at handicapping Henry Cavill. Case in point, Superman.
Yeah.
If they took him off to the leash, I'm sure that those Justice League movies would have been a lot better. But they didn't. Anyway, carrying on. So, Witcher series, how many games are there?
Currently, there are 3.
Okay.
I believe there's 3. There's The Witcher 1, which I have the Witcher Enhanced Edition, Witcher 2, Assassination of the King, and Witcher 3, Wild Hunt.
And the little-known Witcher 4, The Search for Witcher 2.5.
Oh, yeah, there's
and Witcher 5, Electric Boogaloo.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah. Currently, I'm on the 3rd chapter of the first game.
Okay.
So I'm not very far into it. So I'm not very familiar with the lore, but I'm getting familiar with the lore.
Console or PC?
Both.
Both?
I'm playing it on PC because I'm a PC gamer.
Right, me too.
Which I'll talk about next week.
Yes, you will. Because Tony's going to have himself a wish list. All right, Sybil, what are you reading, listening to, playing, or watching that is making your geeky little heart happy right now, my dear sister?
Okay, so there's a couple of things I'm doing, and they might seem kind of dark, but it's okay.
It's okay. I'm into dystopian stuff myself, apparently.
I am loving the new Sabrina Witch on Netflix.
Oh, yeah?
I binged all of them, and I was I'm waiting for more to come. I might end up watching them all again just to see if I can see more things.
Have you read the comics, Sybil?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a really good series.
Yeah, it's very, very, very good series, and I like how they really tied in the new Riverdale as well.
Oh, so it's going to be crossover?
Really dark, archy. So.
Nice.
Spoilers! Yeah.
Spoilers.
So, I'm loving it.
That's
I'm loving
hilarious.
that. I'm listening to a couple different podcasts right now. One of them is called Small Town Murder.
Okay.
And what it is these 2 comedians do research on this real murder and explain it, but it has to be from a really small town. So that's their only parameters. It has to be an interesting murder from a very small town. So they explain everything, but then they make fun of the bumbling police force or the criminal themselves. They don't make fun of the family or the victim. They don't do that. They just make fun of everything else.
Okay.
Because a lot of these are just this person, because the police force was so bad, this person got away with it for 15 years. And so I'm listening to that. And then the last thing I'm listening to, which actually isn't dark at all, it's pretty funny. It is, I want to make sure I get the title correct. Hello from the Magic Tavern.
Okay.
I like a Magic Tavern.
Yeah, there's another podcast that's been out for a few years, but I'm listening to it from the beginning, where this guy falls through a temporal opening behind a Burger King, and he goes into this new land of Foon, and it's all about the magical creatures on Foon and the world on Foon, and it's just a really stupid, funny strip that's really hilarious because the guys on Foon refer to stuff from Earth, like geeky stuff from Earth, and it just makes me laugh every single time they reference it, and they act like they have no idea what they're talking about. It's quite well.
Nice.
What was the name of the first podcast?
Small Town Murder.
Small Town Murders.
Have you heard of the podcast My Favorite Murder?
No, I haven't heard of that one yet.
It's basically the hosts go through and talk about like different serial killers. It's actually really interesting.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're into that sort of thing, then that's the sort of thing you're into, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I find it fascinating the way the human brain works. Like,
oh yeah.
There's like where one incident can make one person become this amazing angel of a person to take care of them, but then the same incident can also turn them the complete opposite way, and they can be just evil and just downright just deplorable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing for me to go back to that stage of when did this happen to this person? When did they start showing this different side of them that most of human society looks on as really, really bad and evil, and it shouldn't exist?
How does the brain work?
Yes. Fascinated by it.
I'm pretty sure most of us on this panel would be a good case study for a few neurologists and psychotherapists and, crime writers. So.
Yeah.
Sherry.
Yes.
You're next.
Well, as you guys know, I've been working my way through Jim C. Hines' Libromancer series.
Right.
And I am currently on book number 4.
Okay.
And oh my God, it is amazing.
Oh, cool.
I cannot recommend these books more. And each one gets a little more in-depth, a little more interesting. The character development is fantastic. And this one is, I don't want to give away too much of it, because I do recommend people read it, but it's basically, think about every story, especially when you're talking about urban fantasy, which these are, where you have 2 ways of doing urban fantasy. Either it's all magic is a secret and everyone works really hard to keep it a secret, or magic is all out there, and it has been forever. This takes a different look at what happens to the world if all of a sudden the magic that's been a secret forever is now known by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
What does that do to politics? What does that do to relationships between countries? What does this do? How do people react to inhuman creatures? It's really, really interesting, and it's kind of scary, timely.
Okay, so it kind of fits into today's society a little bit, I'm assuming?
Yes, it does. It's a couple of years old, but you can definitely know that Jim, you know that Jim is very political. He's just from this book, he's very politically aware, and I love his writing to begin with, but this one just is leaps and bounds above anything else I've read by him, and I'm enjoying it so much.
Very cool. All right. Monkey Girl. Ilana.
She's like, what?
Hello.
What are you reading, listening to, playing, or watching that is making your geeky little heart happy right now, Sweet Pea?
A game I got for my birthday called Codenames.
Ooh, tell me about it.
Oh, is that the board game?
It's like a card game, isn't it?
Yeah, I've played that. That's a fun game.
I've never heard of it before.
Yes. I enjoy it so much. And the best part about it is my grandmother has a hard time playing card games and whatnot, but this is one she can play. She doesn't have trouble with this one.
Oh, good. Well, okay. So is it like Magic or something? Magic the Gathering or anything like that? Or
I've got it.
Or Flux?
No.
It is.
No.
What's the write-up on
You
it?
put out a series of cards that all have like one word on it, and then you got to try and figure out a one-word clue that's going to get your partner to pick the correct one.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And it's really interesting and a lot of fun.
2 rival spy masters know the secret identities of 25 agents. Their teammates knows the agents only by their code names. The teams compete to see who can make contact with all their agents first. Spy masters give one-word clues that can point to multiple words on the board. Their teammates try to guess the words of the right color while avoiding those that belong to the opposing team. And everyone wants to avoid the assassin. That type of code name?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Is that the like pinkish red box or whatever?
With like yellow in the middle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've got it up on Amazon. You can find it on Amazon for $14.88. No, just
That sounds hard.
It sounds hard. Well,
No, it is hard, but it's challenging and fun.
Once you get over like the learning curve, it's actually like pretty easy to like play and have fun with.
I don't like
I mean,
learning.
they've got code names Marvel. They've got code names Disney.
Okay. I've played Codenames Marvel, and unless you're like really into the comics and know everything about Marvel, it's kind of hard.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Then I'm out. So, Exploding Kittens. I'm on Amazon now.
Exploding Kittens is fun. Oh, Kittens in a Blender. That's also fun.
Oh, great.
And he's not talking about a game. He's just talking about
If somebody's listening,
No,
if somebody's listening to this podcast on like an open, not on a headset, and then somebody else walks by and hears, Blenders, kittens in a blender is a lot of fun. What the hell are you doing? No, I can't imagine.
You have to get the kittens into either the safe box or throw your opponent's kittens into a blender.
That's amazing.
Okay. So I'm glad that you got code names and you're having a really good time playing it.
Yeah. Tanya.
Yes.
You're up.
I am.
You are. What are you reading, listening to, playing, or watching that is making your geeky little heart happy?
I am so not happy with you.
What is your newest addiction, Tanya? Come on, tell the class.
War crack. Ha 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 ha. Oh my God. It's like you were at Wegmans the other day and I was playing while you were at Wegmans and having a grand old time, and everything is so much better now that I have the ability to ride a flying mount.
Yes.
Because you can totally bypass all the monsters to get to where you want to go.
To get to where you want to go.
Yes.
So after 14 years, because this was recently was the 14th anniversary for World of Warcraft. After 14 years of watching people talking about, yes, she finally got her account a few months ago, and she would only play if I was playing with her online. And then, but now it's the addiction has taken hold because I'm getting text messages. Oh, I hit this level. Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, I'm in this spot.
Chris is like, damn, your character's a higher level than mine. Hold on, I gotta go.
That's fine. I can catch up.
Well, you've got 110, 120.
If you outlevel the character I've been leveling up with you, I've got others that you can catch up to along the way. So yeah, you have acquired the Warcraft addiction. You now call it appropriately war crack, as everybody else does.
I hate
no, it's okay. I'm going to bask in that hate because it's fun for me.
You still have to figure out, because I have WoW 1 and WoW 2 on my computer, and I have to show you later because I bought Azeroth on my WoW 1 account, but Bloodhoof Guild, whatever, is on
the next
WoW
time we're
2.
in front of either computer, we'll call Blizzard up and we'll get you sorted out.
Yeah.
All right. So not worried about that.
I just need to figure out a new headgear piece because I'm not liking the cowl version.
Well, you can actually do a transmog and just eliminate it.
Yeah, well,
so
that's something.
You can have it on
I don't
your.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I've tried to explain it, but that's just going over your head. That's fine.
Yes.
There's too much. That's the thing about this game is there's so many different things to do.
But no, one of your friends, whatever, said something about naked gnome runs, and it just scared the heck out of me.
That's an old tradition from way back.
I'm like, okay, never mind. I'm going this way.
Leroy
Jenkins.
And your guildmates were having a grand old time laughing at me because I was like
they love having the new blood in the guild. It's fun for them.
But so that's what I hate you.
Yeah, no, you don't. No, you don't. Billy.
Hello. I'm going to mention a couple things. First, I started watching season 2 of Jessica Jones.
I only got a couple episodes in, then I've dropped it. I have to go back to it. I have to finish that off.
It's funny. Susan and I were looking for something to watch and scanning through, and she enjoyed the first season, as did I. So let's start the second season. And after the first episode of the second season, Susan decided she didn't like the main character Jessica Jones anymore, so she bailed out.
Okay.
So after she goes to bed, now I watch season 2. Susan also has an issue where, of remembering things from that we watched a year ago. Like if there's a reference to something or somebody, she may not remember and sort of check out. So now I'm watching it and I'm really enjoying it. I think it's an excellent dark little thriller where Jessica's trying to figure out how she got these powers. The doctors that experimented on her as a young girl and track down those people, and I think it's really fascinating and good, and I like it a lot. So
I know I'm only a couple episodes in myself. How about, has anybody else been watching season 2 of Jessica Jones yet?
I finished it.
You finished it? How'd you like it?
Yes.
She doesn't. You don't even remember, do you?
There's so much out there but yes, this is the one where her friend is becoming addicted.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah.
Her best friend becomes addicted to whatever the super
The
serum.
boosty thing.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
I
Yeah.
just said that. I didn't,
Okay.
whatever.
But you don't know anything else, so stop right there. Billy, what else you gotten into
I'm also
lately?
looking forward to. I listen to a ton of podcasts, usually ones that make me laugh.
Okay.
Although sometimes
So you
there's
listen to
sports.
us?
There's yes, I do. I'm actually subscribed to FC3 Monkey Business.
Nice.
But I've got a lot of the Kevin Smith ones, obviously. But there's a new one that just started last week that I'm looking forward to. Conan O'Brien now has a podcast called Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend.
Uh-oh.
The whole premise is, and I
scares
pulled
me.
it up here, the written. After 25 years at the late night desk, Conan realized that the only people at his holiday party are the men and women who work for him. Over the years, and despite thousands of interviews, Conan has never made a real and lasting friendship with any of his celebrity guests. So he started a podcast to do just that. Deeper, unboundingly playful, and free from FCC regulations, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend is a weekly opportunity for Conan to hang out with the people he enjoys most and perhaps find some real friendship along the way.
That's cool.
So he kind of wonders. I get the impression in the little preview. He asks a lot, how come we're not friends? And sometimes he gets a real answer. and they learn a lot about each other, and life moves on. So,
That's cool. That's a cool concept. I like that idea.
I'm looking forward to listening to Conan.
Nice.
First episode is Will Ferrell.
Okay.
So
I'll skip that one.
yeah, it's funny you say that. I'm not a fan of Will Ferrell
neither.
myself. So.
Conan the Barbarian.
Then there's the legendary Conan the Librarian.
There you go.
Yeah.
Conan the Vegetarian
Oh.
didn't work at all.
I want to jump in. I did watch another episode of Buffy the other day.
Did you?
So I'm up to 6 episodes.
Oh, look at you go.
So it's only one since our last Buffy.
It's only
Yeah,
only one more and you'll become an addict.
I need Christmas to binge the rest of them.
Yeah. See, teacher needs time.
Yes.
I got it.
But I did watch one. That one was better than the other ones that I actually enjoyed that one. It was called The Pact for those the pack. The ones with the hyenas.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I like the hyena one. Yeah.
So
I vaguely remember
Xander
that
was
one.
an asshole. So, but
There you go. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
I also bought a whole bunch of comics yesterday.
Nice.
A
I
small-
stopped by a comic book shop yesterday for the first time in ages. So
Me
I got,
too.
I
That's
got a chance
how
to hang out.
Yeah.
Did they ask who you were?
No, they know.
Oh,
And I picked up Fantastic Four #1 finally.
I'm hearing disappointing things about.
I don't know. I kind of liked
Really?
it.
Okay.
I thought they could have done more. I mean, it's this big issue, but there's like lots of little vignettes, and so the core Fantastic Four #1 issue is like maybe a third of the actual book itself.
Okay.
And I think they could have done a lot more with it. But I'll pick up 2 and 3 just to see how they bring everybody back together again. You know, it's definitely in the MCU comic book continuity. It's not a new multiverse kind of a thing. They're addressing how at the end of the last big plot line they kind of split up and a lot of different things happen. So they're addressing that.
Well, I hope it's good.
I'm thinking so.
As
maybe
long as Galactus is a solid form with a big purple helmet.
Not a
there
cloud?
it is. He's not a cloud.
Not a cloud.
I wonder if it's as disappointing as people say it is. Maybe that will then flip the script on the movies because the comic book has always been good and the movies sucked. Maybe the comic book will suck and the movies will be good.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
So, as for me, I'm not really doing much of any. I haven't been watching much of anything lately except for the news, just keeping up on current events. I took the Thanksgiving vacation to finish doing some painting in my house. I'm starting to hang some things up on the wall. That's about it. I mean, I've been still playing Minecraft, World of Warcraft, still playing my phone games, Clash of Clans. Oh God, I'm so bad at Clash of Clans. It's hilarious. And that's about it. So I'm really not into anything at the moment, but I'm getting closer and closer to running out of things to do at my house, which is kind of nice.
Then you can just sit and enjoy things in your house.
Exactly. And I'm going to start finishing the attic in the springtime, I think, because I want to have the proper game room / Mighty Monkey boardroom kind of thing up there. So we'll see.
You should try out The Witcher.
I should try out The Witcher.
Yeah.
You said PC version, right?
I'm using the PC version. They also have like PS4 and.
How much is it?
I think it's like.
Hold on, let me look.
I think it's like $10, maybe less.
Is it now as a Steam thing or is it?
I got it through Steam. I got it on. They had it on sale for Polish Independence Day back on the 11th.
Polish Independence Day was a sale.
Yeah, they because
$60.
$60.
No, you're looking at Wild Hunt. Yeah, I got the entire trilogy for like $20 or something like that. Excluding the DLCs for Wild Hunt.
Do you need a beefy computer for it?
Wild Hunt, yes. The first 2 games, no.
Okay. Well, all right. So I think that's good. I think that's an episode there.
Yeah.
Are we set?
I think we're...
That's good enough. And this has been Monkey Business, a product of the Mighty Monkey Corporation, purveyors and producers of the Flower City Comic Con, among a whole bunch of other things, and we're coming at you like a spider monkey in 2019. Like us on Facebook, love us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, follow us wherever we go, and we will lead you to where the entertainment is. So have a great day, have a great week, and we will see y'all next Wednesday.
Dum, dum.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Yeah.